Glad tidings, my brothers and sisters. Wallahi, I believe this. It's all glad tidings. Because the greatest triumph, the greatest success is to go to Jannah and to be shielded from the Nar. And calamities and crises such as the crisis and the calamity that we're witnessing in Palestine, in Gaza, is a means for the Palestinians and for us to have that greatest success.
In the mind of the Islamist are not practical things that matter. Alleviating Palestinian suffering is not their primary objective. Islamists are not humanitarian. Their allegiance is not to humanity. Their allegiance is to Islam. Achieving heaven under the Islamic principles of jihad and martyrdom is the primary objective. Therefore, it is not unfair to assume the same people will also use Palestinian suffering for that purpose. Islamists will never compromise the cause of Allah for an honest struggle for Palestinian rights or Palestinian liberation, especially when essential compromises to achieve those undermine their main objective. But what is the cause of Allah in this world? Allah says in the Quran, "And I did not create the jinn and mankind except to worship me." The cause of Allah is establishing the deen, or the community of Allah in this world of like-minded people that worship only Allah, and religion is all for Allah. This is an imperialistic political struggle, as well as a spiritual one. In this struggle, Islamists will utilize peaceful means like dawah, but also violent means like offensive jihad. As they seek to subjugate the world under Sharia law, Islamists are permitted to kill, enslave, and deceive for this ultimate purpose. In the Islamist twisted sense of morality, good is whatever favors Islam, bad is whatever harms Islam, irrespective of consequences of actions in the real world and how these affect the well-being of people.
The great triumph. For the Muslim, it is all good. For the Muslim, it's an amazing situation. I really, truly believe if we frame what's happening in Gaza in the correct way, we will know that victory is already here.
Ignorant people hearing words like victory, they assume liberation of Palestine or perhaps a two-state solution. Yet victory for Islamists is initially dismantling Israel from the river to the sea. And then further, the cause of Allah in the world. Any compromise from this purpose equals to defeat. Even if Gaza becomes Qatar and Palestinian children are happier than Swedish children, this will still equal a form of defeat in the minds of Islamists. Islamists are not humanitarian. They are political zealots like communists and Nazis. Hamza Tzorzis often argues against human rights, including the right of Palestinians for self-determination under a Palestinian identity. For him, ethnic identity is something sinister and should assimilate all under the only legitimate identity, which is Islam.
Your nation, you have to love your nation, your qawm. All the prophets loved their people, but never make it to the point where it becomes over your deen. SubhanAllah, I came and met the brothers yesterday. Do you know what I said to them? I said, we, the Ottomans, we must re-invade Greece. This is the country of my father. But I think, my brothers and sisters, I think we have to re-invade Greece, not to kill anybody, no. To show them the peace and justice and harmony of Islam and our ethics.
For nation interest, ethnocentric concern. But in reality, the message of Islam is for all people, to take care of the whole of humanity. If we command the good and forbid the evil, we will take leadership once more and people will see the peace and justice of Islam. But let's turn the tables for a moment. Imagine England was occupied by France for 75 years. Just imagine, the French came, occupied England for 75 years. Ethnically cleansed the English people. Established an apartheid system where the English were inferior. There were laws that were enacted and practiced that actually favored the French over the English. English children were being murdered for decades. The women were being murdered and raped. What do you think the English would do? The whole world would be on fire. They would break every single principle.
Hamza Tzorzis keeps changing the scope of his argument, from Islamic supremacy to humanitarian, and then back to Islamic supremacy and vice versa. Exactly because his argument is weak. A humanitarian solution for the Palestinian issue cannot come with the uncompromising Islamist from the river to the sea narrative. Yet Hamza Tzorzis will rather see Palestinians suffer than compromise the cause of Allah in this world. So, is he really humanitarian? Or he just proclaims to be? At the same time, he demands Israel to go gentle into that good night of complete annihilation, otherwise they are the ones not humanitarian. He is the type hero that only compromises others on his behalf.
September 20th, Fox News had an interview with MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, and then followed by an interview with Netanyahu. In the interview with MBS, he asked him, what is the process of normalization with Israel? Where is it now? And MBS answered, we are getting closer to reaching an agreement day by day. We are getting closer. However, the Zionist leaders, the Israeli leaders, have to look after the demands and rights of the Palestinians.
Daniel, what they'll say is this. They'll say, look, Mohammed bin Salman, head of Saudi Arabia, or the crown prince of Saudi Arabia, he's saying, I will give you normalization if you give the Palestinians their rights, their two-state solution. Some people say that's a great thing.
Was that really the condition that he gave? Like, is that really what's on the table? Is give the Palestinians their own state? Like, what state would that really look like?
It will look like you Islamists won't have a caliphate built on the blood and tears of Palestinians. Instead, Palestinians will have an opportunity to live peacefully with Israelis in their own state without blockade and restrictions of movement. What you also supposedly care about when you make your fake liberation and humanitarian arguments. When admittedly orchestrated and anticipated the death and suffering of Palestinians in the recent attacks against Israel, with purpose to torpedo the normalization process and any chance for alleviation of Palestinian suffering that will compromise your human shield and blood leverage to establish a caliphate.
Their minds, I think that the Palestinians, in their attack on October 7th, this was really what they're trying to prevent. They're trying to prevent Saudi from normalizing at that key time by creating this situation for the purposes of blocking normalization between Israel and Saudi. And it worked, so far. It has delayed. It has put a huge wrench in the gears of Saudi-Israel normalization.
Mohammed bin Salman discusses what seemed unlikely just a few years ago: normal diplomatic relations with Israel.
For us, the Palestinian issue is very important. We need to solve that part, and we have a good negotiations continue.
Maybe someone can look at Jordan, someone can look at communication previously between Qatar and Israel, where basically Palestinians at the middle of the talk. You have to improve the Palestinians' life. You have to open the bridges. You have to do something. And now we are hearing actually from Mohammed bin Salman the same. He was saying, there is no peace with Israel unless there is, quote unquote, on Palestinians. So now we see actually three countries. They use the same terminology nearly, that no peace with Israel, no normalization, unless Israel has to pay back something.
Have you ever wondered why Hamas and their supporters don't want to alleviate Palestinian suffering? Instead, orchestrate, anticipate, and try to maximize Palestinian suffering? The answer is they employ the Osama bin Laden plan to replace the Western world order with the Islamic world order, as described in the Muslim Brotherhood notebook. They seek Muslim suffering so they can unite the Muslim world under our false humanitarian and liberation pretext. Unless Islamists are defeated, there can never be a Palestinian solution. Unless Osama bin Laden's ideological offsprings are defeated, there will never be peace in this world.
You know, these neoliberals and these secularists that promote humanity, they say, yes, we're human beings, we have rule of law, we have all of this stuff, the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, all of this nonsense on stilts, because it's from a shoddy basis. They would break those principles. They make their God in the morning and they eat him in the evening.
So let me give you a ratio.
Yeah.
How many people did the Nazis kill?
I don't know.
You don't know.
We know they killed 6 million.
They killed 12 million people.
I don't know. We don't know.
Including 6 million Jews.
Sure.
Right.
Sure.
So
12 million
how many died in Dresden? How many civilians died in Germany? Do you know?
I don't know exactly.
Right. So you don't actually know what you're talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about because
You
I know in
called
Dresden and Hamburg.
You said it's about you. Unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
said it's to do with the
ratios.
The ratios.
Yes.
But you don't know the ratios. When
No, I know for a fact.
You call Winston Churchill a criminal.
Mohammed Hijab pretends to care about ratios, yet on other debates makes arguments against consequentialism.
Consequentialism is an ethical theory that judges whether or not something is right by what its consequences are.
You mentioned something quite interesting. You said, our ordinary requirements for moral philosophy. You mentioned as well, like you've got deontological ethics, you've got consequentialism or teleological ethics, and then you've got virtue ethics. Yes. My question is, why should it be that white men dictate to us what morality is? Have we had enough of this in this country? Instead, our requirements for morality, as if we've all subscribed to it. We have a completely different understanding and a completely different ontology. Why have you assumed that the white man is right? So my question is, as an atheist, you have the audacity to say our requirements of moral philosophy, as if the white man's moral philosophy is all of our moral philosophies, and or any of the consequentialist ethics. You said our moral philosophy, you've included me in your morality. I'm asking you to prove your morality before you say our morality. I don't subscribe to your morality. Answer me, why is the veil of ignorance of Jordan rules or the consequentialist moralities of any of the liberal thinkers absolutely true? What creedal disproving implications does that have? As a philosopher, where is your objective morality? Where is your objective reasoning? Where are the arguments? Where is the empiricism? Where is the calculations? Where is the proof? Where is the evidence? That's why I'm asking. Don't assume that you're going to come here and tell us our requirements for our moral requirements. That's your moral requirements. You have a religion, I have a different religion. Prove to me that your religion is true. That's what I'm saying. Why is consequentialism true?
Morality based on casualty ratios is clear-cut consequentialism. The morality you supposedly do not subscribe to.
They would break those principles. They make their God in the morning and they eat him in the evening.
So, when you in debates pretend to not care about consequences of actions in the real world and then become a consequentialist, comparing ratios, maybe you are the one, in fact, doing that, Hamza. Maybe.
I'm telling you, you test people like this and they're not grounded in Islam. They're not connected to the Creator, they will become savages. And we've already seen this, right? Look what Mr. Churchill did in Dresden. 25,000 people killed, innocents. They wanted to carpet bomb the place, just trying to shake the morale of the German people, and it never worked. And you have algorithm prostitutes like Piers Morgan actually saying it was a good thing. He's an algorithm prostitute. And his boss is a algorithm pimp.
Okay, Hamza, you keep embarrassing yourself, my friend, because you are very bad in philosophy. So I will educate you for the last time in this video, although I could go on and interrupt you every 5 seconds, because that's how long you do before you make a philosophical error. Every 5 seconds, Hamza. And instead having the humility, like a student, to hear someone like me educate you, you think you are the great philosopher. So, first of all, let's see the relevant clip.
Their argument is that they're going after a terror organization, Hamas, and unfortunately in war, as Rabbi Shmuley correctly said about what Churchill did in World War II.
Churchill was wrong.
A lot of
Churchill was wrong.
Okay.
Was he a war criminal? Yes, he was. Yes, he was.
Churchill was a war criminal.
Yes, he was.
Well,
Churchill was a war criminal.
All the British
Let me
people
do
who
the
lived there
Churchill was a
were
war
criminals.
criminal.
Okay.
Yes, he was.
And George VI was George VI war
All of them
criminal?
war criminals.
George
Like
VI
it's
war
like all of them.
criminal.
Yes, of
So
course.
anyone
his
hang on,
parents-
Rabbi Shmuley.
War criminal. War
Let me
criminal.
ask. So let me get this
Absolutely.
straight. You think
Collective punishment.
You think Winston Churchill
Was a war criminal. Yes.
in standing up to the Nazis
By killing the
who
babies.
killed 12 million people?
I believe he was a war
that
criminal.
by doing what he did was a war criminal.
Yes.
So, Christian Europe fought a defensive war against the Nazis. It isn't obvious that that was wrong.
I don't think that was. I wouldn't say that's defensive. I wouldn't say that's defensive.
So let me give you a ratio.
Yeah.
How many people did the Nazis kill?
I don't know.
You don't know.
million.
how
We know,
many Nazis killed?
we know they killed 6 million.
They
Jews in
killed
the
12
Holocaust.
million people.
I don't know. We don't know.
Including
exactly.
6 million Jews.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
So
12 million non-combatants.
how many died in Dresden? How many civilians died in Germany? Do you know?
I don't know exactly.
Right. So you don't actually know what you're talking about.
I do know what I'm talking about because
You
I know in
called
Dresden and Hamburg.
You said
if
it's
his
about you. Unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, go ahead.
Unless I'm wrong.
Yeah, go
you
ahead.
said it's to do with the
ratios.
The ratios.
Yes.
But you don't know the ratios. When
No,
you
no,
call,
I know for a fact
You
Dresden
call
and
Winston Churchill
Well,
a
what are the
criminal.
numbers?
Dresden and
Okay, fine, but I understand the concept of defensive war.
Well, America didn't. When America got involved in World War II, it was not under immediate threat by Germany, and they colonized it.
Am I speaking to him or
How
you?
many in Dresden?
Whatever the number.
You don't
if,
know
if
it
it's
all.
indiscriminate, I'm against it.
No, he doesn't.
That's my morality.
Rabbi Shmuley, you respond.
Dresden's about 25,000, and at the time, the Germans were saying 250,000. We know it's about 25,000 today. Let me be clear. Winston Churchill was the greatest statesman of the 20th century. He saved the world from
I agree.
Nazi terror.
Yeah.
That you could live in a country that is only around today because of the bravery of that man showing no gratitude is the height of
stick on topic. Stick on topic.
And to call all the British people who defeated the Nazis, who defeated
So, Hamza, exactly because the type of the ontological morality you subscribe to, you call divine command theory, is horse shit, and that's the reason you call one of the greatest heroes of the 20th century a war criminal. Exactly that is the reason. Because your moral theory is completely out of this world. Okay, in reality, in true morality, which is virtue ethics in combination with consequentialism, in this type of morality, the intent matters. So, Churchill intent matters. The intent of Hamas to eliminate Israel matters. Also in consequentialism, the circumstance matters. For example, if someone holds a nuclear bomb, a terrorist holds a nuclear bomb, and he has 4 children in front of him, you better be sure I will kill these children to reach to the terrorist. It's not because I hate children. Okay. It's because you bring the world in this circumstance with your outrageous toxic delusions that unfortunately children die as collateral damage. To be able to counter your outrageous toxic ideology keeps attacking this world.
Jihad is a noble concept. Jihad saved humanity, and it will save humanity again.
Whatever you say, Adolf. Look, Hamza, let me be as because I care for you. Now, seriously. Okay. There are 2 ways. Either your evil ideology will die peacefully with social evolution, either you will keep having this aggressive attitude and your evil ideology will die with wars. Those are the 2 options, my friend. You can keep shouting and telling to your, I don't know, talking to your imaginary friend. That doesn't change reality. So, Hamza, you think you are tough. I don't know what you think. Because liberalism protects you. Because liberalism protects you, you think you are tough. No, you aren't, my friend. So, calm down and I don't know what end. Thank you very much.